Hi you guys. Today for math, what we're working on is just adding two-digit numbers, and all we're doing is drawing pictures and writing the equations. So you don't have a math page today, and you can use a whiteboard like I'm going to use. If you have a dry erase whiteboard, you can use a piece of any paper, lined white paper, construction paper, any kind of paper you have. You can use, if you're using paper, markers, or pencils. So it's up to you. And if you don't even feel like drawing and you want to use something fun like food, you could use pretzels for the 10 sticks, chocolate chips for the ones, or whatever you want. But what we're doing is working today on showing numbers with a picture and then adding them together and counting them to see what the total is when we put them together. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. So remember yesterday we talked about Uncle David and Aunt Sarah picking apples. Well, guess what? The apple farm is busy and they're working at it again today. So let's get on our apple picking clothes and start picking some apples. But we're not going to be drawing the same kind of pictures we drew yesterday, because if we did that for all of our equations, it would take forever. So here's my whiteboard. Okay, let's go ahead and let's start showing some numbers. So today, wow, Uncle David had a really successful tree, and he picked from his apple trees 57 apples. I'm just gonna write the equation first. 57 apples. Lately I've been drawing my 7 like that. It's kind of fun. I don't know why, but you can draw it like that too. 57 apples. And then Aunt Sarah went and got busy and she picked 35 apples. So what we're wanting to know is how many that is all together. What is the total, right? So these are our partners, and if we put them together, it should be the same as the total. So we're trying to figure out the total. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is just draw the picture. So remember that 57, when I think about this, I think about my secret code cards, right? 57. 57, if I look at the 5 in the tens place, it's going to be 5 tenths. If I look at the 7 ones, it's going to be 7 ones. So I'm going to go ahead and draw this picture, but I'm not going to draw each individual one because I've already learned that 10 of these make a new group of 10. And I'm going to use a 10 stick to show that. So I'm going to go ahead and start by drawing 57. 5 tens, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tens, and then 7 ones. 1, 2, I'm drawing this number right here, it kind of got erased. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Remember how I always like you to draw ones in 5 groups, okay? Because it makes it so much easier to count them and they stay nice and neat. And then I'm going to draw my 35. Now 35 is 3 tens, which gives us 30, and 5 ones. So 3 tens, 1, 2, 3, 3 tens is 30, and 5 extra ones. All right, now that I have this, if I want to add these together, the first thing I need to do is look at my tens and see if I can make a new group of 10. So I look here, and right away I see that I have 5 and 5. And I've already learned that 5 plus 5 equals 10. So I could do 5 plus 5 this way, and draw this blobby blob blob looking circle to make a new group of 10. So then I go ahead and I figure out how many apples do they have all together. I have 5 tens here from Uncle David, plus 3 more from Aunt Sarah, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then plus a new extra group of 10, 9. I have 9 groups of 10. So I just put my 9 right up here in my tens place because I have 9 tens, but we know that's really the same as 90. right? 9 tens is 90. If I wanted to count my tens to remember that I'm talking about tens, I could. I could go 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. But then I have extra ones. Look at these. They didn't go in a new group of 10. I have 2 extra ones. So my answer to 57 plus 35 equals 92. And I got that by drawing a picture. Now sometimes when you see equations, you guys prefer to write them from top to bottom. I call that a vertical equation. So let's go ahead and do the same equation but working from top to bottom. So let's say Uncle David he picked 57 apples and Aunt Sarah picked 35. Now when you write 2-digit equations like this going from top to bottom, Mrs. Lloyd told you this before, it's really important that you line up the ones, the 7 ones in 57 and the 5 ones in 35, that you line them up in like a nice neat column. And then it's very important that you line up your tens. So the 5 tens in 57 needs to be right above the 3 tens in 35. It's really important that these are lined up. And we don't even need to have that line there to separate them, but we want to make sure the numbers are lined up. The ones are on top of each other and the tens are in a column over here. I'm not going to worry about the plus sign. I'm going to put it off to the side so it's out of my way. And it will be like on the same line as like the bottom number. And then remember this long line here is our equal sign when we're working on vertical equations from top to bottom. So I can draw my equation this way, but I still need to show my picture. So 57 is 5 tens, 3, 4, 5, always making them nice and neat. That's really important. And 7 ones, 5, 6, 7, and 35, I'm going to do it right here. 3 tens and 5 ones. Now, before I can add these numbers together, I want to look at my ones and see, can I group them together to make a new group of 10? And I could do that a couple ways. If I wanted to and I like making little curly tens, I could say, oh, I see a 5 there and I see a 5 there. That looks like a backwards C. That's crazy. But that makes a new 10 and I could do it that way. But what if I don't like doing that? What if I say, oh, okay, I don't care about the 5 and the 5. So instead of doing that, what I want to do is I know this is 7 and I just want to take some from 35 to make 10. So 7, 8, 9, 10. That's a new group of 10 right there. I'm going to circle it. And now I have a new group of 10. Don't forget about that group. Even though it looks different than a 10 stick, it's just like a 10 stick. Like I could draw a 10 stick over it, but it wouldn't look the same because it's in this big circle. So don't forget that this new group of 10 you made is basically like saying, oh, that new group of 10 is another 10 stick. It just looks different because I just made it. So then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to look at my equation and I'm going to say, okay, how many 10s do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I'm going to write 9 in my 10s place. And how many extra ones do I have? 1, 2, that weren't in the group of 10s. And that will go into my ones place. That's one way that you might draw this picture, that it would look like if you wanted to write an equation from top to bottom. Let's look at another way. Let's look at a last way right now. Let's erase this. Let's still talk about Uncle David and Aunt Sarah's apple picking. Let's go ahead and do a top to bottom. So again, 57 plus 35. Remember, don't even put that plus sign somewhere in that number. Just put it over here to the side. Then draw your equal sign. make sure your 7 and 5 are like building a tower together in a column, and the 5 and 3 are like a little column there. And then go ahead and draw your picture. You might want to draw your 57 this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 tens is 50 and 7 ones. Maybe instead of drawing your ones going side to side, you want to just draw them up and down. You can totally do that. So 5 and 2 extra ones. Oh, I went down. I'm going to actually put them up here. Like that. Sorry. 5, 6, 7. And then I want to draw my 35. I decided not to put them down because I needed room for my 35, right? 35. 3 tens and 5 extra ones. Now when I draw my ones going up and down this way, you might decide you really like that, because instead of having this big circle blob that circles a group of 10, then it's easier to draw a line through your group of 10 that makes it look like a 10 stick, to help you remember that when we make a new group of 10 and circle it, it's really like a 10 stick, right? So here, this was lined up so nicely. The 7 ones had a 5 group in it, and then here's my 5 from 35. 5 and 5 make 10. And so I circled it, and if it helps me, I can even draw a line through it to see, yeah, that's another 10 stick, just like these other 10s now. So now the 7 and the 5 made together 12, which is 1 10 and 2 extra ones. So now these 10 right here are going to be just considered a new 10. How many 10s do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 10s, putting the 9 in the 10s place. And then how many extra ones? 2. So that is just showing you 3 different ways you could draw a picture to solve the equation 57 plus 35. There's a lot of different ways you can do that. Let's go ahead and let's try drawing pictures with a couple different equations. And I'll even show you one of the methods that probably your parents would be most familiar with. I definitely was when I started learning the new different methods. I'm going to show you 10 on top. I'm even going to write the name of this method down so that you don't forget. 10 on top. Okay, let's go ahead and let's add the numbers 29 plus 34. Let's pretend that Uncle David picked 29 apples plus Aunt Sarah picked 34. How many apples do they have all together? If I'm using the 10 on top method, then I'm definitely going to write my equation from top to bottom. So right now I'm going to do that first. And if I'm using like a piece of paper, I need room on top, just so you know. So I'm going to leave a space right here, and I'm going to write 29, and then under it, plus Aunt Sarah's 34 apples. 29 plus 34. Put your plus sign to the side, draw your equal sign below. Okay, so now I need to add 29 plus 34. Already, if I just look at my ones, look at the numbers in the 1. I'm adding 9 ones to 4. I can already tell you there's going to be a new group, because I know that I only need to add 1 to 9 to make a new group of 10. So already I know I'm getting a new group of 10. But I'm going to go ahead and draw my picture. So 29 is 2 10s plus 9 ones. I really liked going from top to bottom, so I'm going to do that again. 9 ones, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now I'm going to draw 34. 1, 2, 3 10s. Trying to keep my 10s on this side and my 1s over here, because I already know I'm going to get a new 10. And 4 ones. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, well I only have 4 here, so I can't just draw a line through this, because 5 and 4 make 9. So I don't have a new 10 yet, so I'm going to have to take one of these. So instead I'm going to look at this as 10. Remember, 5, 4 makes 9, and then make a 10 right here. Look for 10 circles and circle it. I kind of put a box around mine. That is a new group of 10. 9, 10. So now when I write my answer, I'm going to go ahead and say, look, I have 3 extra ones. I could write my 3 first. I have 3 extra ones. Put it in my 3, in my ones place. And then look, do you see how I made a new group of 10? I want my equation to make sense over here. So every time I circle and am able to make box, circle, or ring a new group of 10, if I'm doing the 10 on top method, I'm going to go ahead and show that 10 stick as a tiny little 1 right over here on top. This is one group of 10, right? So this is 1 that I need to add on top over here. So now I'm ready to go ahead and look at this. I have 2 10s plus 3 10s, that's 5. I can even count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Plus, look, I'm adding a third partner right here, plus 1 more. 5 plus 1 equals 6. Okay, so then my answer is 63. And this is called the 10 on top method, which a lot of grown-ups grew up using. So that will be familiar to them, is being able to put the 10 on top. For those of you who want a challenge to think about, I'm going to tell you something. It's kind of like a secret about this right away, because we won't get into this right away. If I look at, remember when I covered my 10s before and I said, look at how many ones I have. I have 9 and 4. So I knew it was going to make a 10. I actually already know what 9 and 4 equals because that's a 9 fact. 9 plus 4 equals 13. So 13, if I wanted to look at this and with my picture, 13 is 3 extra ones with a 10. It's 10 and 3, right? 13. So when I think 9 plus 4 equals 13, I put my 3 extra ones up here, and then 1 10 goes up in the tens place because 10s should always be here and 1 should always be here. So then I just add up how many 10s I have in my tens place, and I'll just add my 1 last because it's easy just to count up. So I know 3 plus 2 equals 5 plus 1 more equals 6. And the answer is 6. And my picture is my proof. I'm showing you that. Let's go ahead and let's try one more 10 on top. Okay, let's try to do 47 plus 34. 47, remember leave space on top because I'm doing the 10 on top method, plus 34. Okay, so again, lining up my 1s and my 10s in both of these 2-digit numbers, putting my plus sign over here and my equal sign there. 47 plus 34. Already, if I cover up my 10s, I'm going to see how many 1s do I have when I put them together. 7 plus 4. Well, if I count up, I go 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I know I have more than a group of 10. I know I'm going to get a new 10. Let's go ahead and let's do this method. Let's first draw 47, 4 10s, 2, 3, 4, plus 7 1s, 6, 7, plus 34, 1, 2, 3 10s, plus 4 1s. Now, again, I don't have 2 5 groups to combine, so I'm just going to look at my 7 up here and go 7, 8, 9, 10. I can make a new 10 right here. Whenever you circle and you make a new 10, before you forget, put the 10 on top because that's the method we're practicing. That's our new 10 we made. It's another 10 stick, another 10. And then I look and say, how many extra 1s do I have? I have 1 extra 1. How many 10s do I have? I have 4, 5, 6, 7, plus the 1 extra 1, which is 8. So my answer is 81. And if I wanted to look at the 10 on top method, again, if I cover up my tens and looked at those ones and said, what is 7 plus 4? 7 plus 4 is 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And 11 is one group of 10 and one extra one. So you put the 10 on top right there. And then you add your numbers in your tens place. So 4 plus 3 is 4, 5, 6, 7, plus one extra one. 7 plus 1 equals 8, and that's where I get how many tens I have. So 47 plus 34 equals 81. And that was just looking at one of the methods you can use, which is 10 on top. It's important that we learn these different methods because we would never draw out ones and count this by ones. Different methods we've learned is that you can write one partner and then draw the other partner up. So like before, when we were doing smaller numbers, you could look at which of these partners is bigger. Oh, I'm going to erase my 10 on top method. Oh, it's 47. Which partner is smaller? 34. You wouldn't draw 34 dots because that would just take too long, and you can accidentally make mistakes when you're drawing the dots or when you're counting up. So we can't use that method, right? And we can't count up with our fingers because we definitely don't have 34 fingers. So that's why we're starting to learn new methods of how to combine numbers that are so big, because it was fine when we were just looking at smaller numbers like 7 plus 4, putting the bigger number in your head and counting up 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That worked, but it wouldn't work for 47 plus 34 because those numbers are just too big. So we're going to start working on these different methods or ways that we can add two-digit numbers together. And there's going to be a lot of different ways, and I want you to try them with me and draw pictures with me. And then ultimately, once you've looked and tried all of them, decide which one you like the best. My favorite one is going to be the show it all method, which I'll show you guys later. So that is all for today, and you don't have a math page that you have to practice. It was just fun, a little video for showing you what's coming up and the very first method, introducing to you the 10 on top method. All right, you guys have a great day. Bye.